Chapter 10, Listing Agreements. In this chapter, we're going to describe the different types of listings. We're going to identify information necessary for disclosure and how to properly price a property, or disclosures for properly pricing properties. And here's a slide that I made up here. It says, a listing is when a property owner hires a real estate brokerage to market their property to find them a ready, willing, and able buyer or renter. And there's a saying in real estate, it's an important saying, at least I think so. That's why I created this slide, that says, if you don't list, you won't last. Or you'll be running around like a chicken with your head cut off. How about that? So agents should spend, at least my advice, agents should spend about 70% of their time trying to get listings. And don't forget to reinvest in your business to get more business. Remember, once you earn a commission, don't spend it all in one place. Put some of that money aside, about 15% or so aside to pay your taxes at the end of the year. And then put some of the money aside to use to reinvest in your marketing and maybe get a better website and yada, yada, yada. Do some marketing and advertising to get more clients. And then you make more money. Then you put more money into it to get more clients, to get more money. Otherwise, when you got listings, you could stay at home and be sick, or you could go on vacation or just take a day off if you're not feeling it. And you'll be fine. Other agents will be showing your listings that you already have, and they could be submitting offers on those listings, and you still make money. If you're working with buyers or renters, you always got to be taking them out and showing them properties and writing contracts, because if you aren't, you're not making money. So you can't really go on vacation or get a stay at home sick for long periods of time and expect a check to be coming in. Whereas if you have a listing, other agents could be showing your listing and putting offers in, and you make part of the money from the sale of that listing. Or even better, you could also get a buyer for your own listing and get both ends of the deal and twice the commission in one transaction. Booyah. So that's what this slide basically says, working more with owners to concentrate on getting listings. If you're only working with buyers or renters and not actively showing properties, you won't be getting paid. If you're a listing agent who is hired by a property owner to market their property for sale or lease, even if you're homesick or on vacation, other agents will be setting up appointments and submitting offers. And you could also have the possibility of getting both sides of the transaction, the full commission, if you get a buyer for your own listing. So only a broker can act as an agent to list, sell, or rent another person's real estate for sale exclusively. They don't hire multiple real estate companies to put their property in the MLS and market it for sale. Okay. We call any listing that begins with the word exclusively as only one agency is hired to exclusively market the property. That doesn't mean that only your agency can show the property, though. New Jersey statute of frauds. Anytime you hear the term statute of frauds, that deals with something required to be in writing to prevent fraud. So New Jersey statutes of frauds stipulates that to be entitled to a commission on real estate transactions, a listing broker has to have a written authorization to act as their broker. In other words, you can't just put a for sale sign on someone's front lawn when they haven't hired you to sell their home, just so that you could get leads. You follow? We can't market an owner's property without their permission, whether it's for sale or rent. Authorization is in writing, is required to charge or earn a commission. Some listing agreements no longer include commission information, and others do. Those are when they combine them with BSA, the brokerage service agreements. And listing agreements must be supplied to the owner in writing within 5 business days if we take a verbal listing, which is not recommended for you to do. It's not advised to take verbal listings because what if the owner just changes their mind then, and then you follow up trying to get it in writing and they don't sign it. They say, you know what? Um, I'll give you a situation I had where I met with the couple. They decided that they were going to list with me, and they told me to put it in the MLS, and so I did. And then when they came back, they went away for the weekend. When they came back, they didn't call me, so I called them because I needed that paperwork signed. And they said, "Oh yeah, you know what? When I was away, I forgot. I was talking to my wife, and her sister recently got her real estate license. She forgot about it, so she's going to list the prop. We're going to list the property with her sister. We don't want to cause any issues. Hopefully, you understand." And I'm just like, "Damn, I already put it in the MLS. I'm going to get in trouble now. I need to get it in writing, or you know." I never got it in writing. Now I got to remove it without anything in writing. So I had to call the MLS and plead with them not to fine me for putting a listing in the system without having a listing in writing. So you got to be careful about those verbal listings because that kind of situation could happen. So New Jersey. So let's do these highlights now of what I just discussed.
Did the plead work?
Yeah. I sucked up. I don't want to get in trouble. I mean, we were supposed to get a listing, and they were going to give it in writing when they came back, and then she forgot that her sister just got her license, and she listed. I don't want to get in trouble. Yeah. I played the stupid, and they fell for it, and they let me out of it.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, actually, I wasn't playing. I was kind of stupid because you don't take a verbal listing, even though the real estate commission allows you to, and you follow up with getting it in writing. It's not the smartest thing to do. Yeah.
Give me 1 second on this. Give me 1 second, please.
What you're highlighting here has a couple exam questions based on it, right? We can't get a listing without the owner's written authorization. Our listing agreements have to state the rate or exact amount of commission and must specify a definite date of termination. And if you get a verbal listing, you got to follow up with getting it in writing within 5 days. However, the MLS requires you to upload any listings within 48
hours. 48 hours.
48 hours. Yep.
I need a pencil. Hold on.
Written offers need to be submitted within
24 hours.
Yes.
I'm supposed to go. My mom.
Okay.
All set. Thank you. Oh.
So listing agreements. What the heck's going on here? Why do we got a line through that? Let's try to fix this. There we go. So listing agreements, brokerage service agreements must state the following to be valid. All listing agreements no longer, in many cases, talk about commissions because after that NAR lawsuit. So those that do combine them with the brokerage service agreements. So Garden State MLS and the former Trend, I forget what they call themselves now. They have the brokerage service agreement combined with the listing agreement, so they talk about commission still. But most of the others, like Middlesex County MLS or All Jersey MLS, now they call themselves, they do not. I'd like to bring that up with them about not doing that. Their listing agreement is combined with the brokerage service agreement, which states the commission as required under the new law changes. As a result of this law, we need to have a brokerage service agreement. Now, all listing agreements are supposed to state the rate or exact amount of commission to be earned by the broker. In New Jersey, brokerage service agreements cannot have a commission pre-typed in. The commission must be expressed as a percentage of the sales price or a dollar amount. We're not allowed to have prescribed fee schedules, which give you limited options to select from, like you see here. And they must have specify a definite date of termination, how long the listing is for. A start date and end date. Don't leave the end date blank and then fill it in, then go back later to give them their copy, because you're supposed to give them that duplicate original immediately of the listing agreement. So, open listings, exclusive agency listings, and exclusive right to sell listings we're about to go over. Open listings are not really listings at all. Not in my opinion, because you can't put them in the MLS. This is just an owner that calls you up and wants to use your money and resources and time to try to find them a buyer, and they're not going to pay you a commission or be loyal to you. They're going to go to as many agents as they want, all working with them saying, hey, if you pay me, if you bring me a buyer, I'll pay you a commission. So use your time, your money, advertise my property, find me a buyer, I'll pay you a commission. And hey, you as an agent, you bring me a buyer and I'll pay you a commission, and you, and you, and you. So the owner is not limited to one person. There's no expiration in this type of listing, an open listing, because the owner is not bound to work with only one agent. They could work with as many agents as they want, all representing them. No, thank you. Juice ain't worth the squeeze for me on that one. This is the one that we really want here. Put a little smiley face next to that exclusive right to sell listing like I got. So an open listing is a unilateral contract. Open listing is open to any number of brokers, all representing the owner as their agent, to market their property, but not exclusively as their agent. It's an open relationship, just like you're dating someone and they're free to go date whoever else they want. You know, it's an open relationship, right? They're not devoted to you. Because the owner is not bound to one agency, there's no need for an expiration date in the listing. It's not listed in the MLS because what are we going to have? The same property listed by 10 different companies in the MLS? Only the agency who brings the buyer will be paid a commission, the buyer's side of the commission only. And the seller is not committing to work exclusively with any single agency, but the agency is bound to represent them and market their property nonetheless. No thanks. I remember I was working late at the office one time, putting in listings and working, doing the paperwork and processing paperwork. And while I was doing that, I got a phone call when I was oh so busy. And the lady, I'm concentrating on putting in the listing on the computer, and the lady's talking to me. And she's like, yeah, do you guys accept open? She's like about to say the word open. She only got as far as saying open. And I said, nope. Like I knew what was coming. And so I wasn't really thinking because I was concentrating on my paperwork there. So I said, nope. And then she was like, pen listings. I said, nope, we don't take open listings. We're loyal to our clients and we devote our time to them. We expect them to do the same for us. So we do not waste our time doing open listings where whole property owners are working with 10 different agents. It makes no sense for us to do that. And then, she just hung up. I was like, okay, whatever. I don't need everybody as my client. This is somebody who's going to be a pain in the ass. They're going to want to use my resources, my time, the money, and then not be exclusive to me. No, thank you. I'm not dealing with you. So she's just calling around asking people if we accept open listings. And I said, nope. Before she even got the word out of her mouth after saying open, didn't even say the whole word open, and put an end to that. So do the highlights here. In an open listing, only the broker that procures them a ready, willing, and able buyer and gets under contract is the one that's going to get paid. They don't pay you a commission if they bring their own buyer or if another agency brings a buyer.
I got it.
Me too. Also,
So using the word exclusive on real estate signs is a little bit different. That means that it's an office exclusive listing where the owner signed a waiver of broker cooperation form. So therefore, they don't want you cooperating with other brokers. So when you see signs that have the word exclusive broker on them, don't bother calling them. That means that that brokerage is not going to work with you. They're going to end up telling you, have your clients contact me and I'll work with them.
wow.
Yeah.
So they're restricting the buyer and seller to only be within that agency, that brokerage?
Yeah, that's the owner. That's at the owner's direction. The owner says, I don't want you cooperating with other brokers. And if that's the case, how do we cooperate with other brokers and share our listing inventory? We put the listing in the MLS as required to by the Real Estate Commission rules, right? By the administrative code. So the word exclusive in listings, is a little bit different than the word exclusive on a sign. So it doesn't mean, this does not mean other agencies are not allowed to show it or aren't entitled to a commission if we have a type of listing that begins with the word exclusive. But when we have that word exclusive agency on a sign, it does. That means that the owner told us they don't want us cooperating with other brokers, so they signed a waiver of broker cooperation agreement. And when that happens, we could only the listing agency is allowed to show the property or market it. So this is kind of like our pocket listing, but it's a legal pocket listing because the owner signed the waiver of broker cooperation directing us not to be their exclusive broker and not work with other agencies. All right, so an exclusive type listing, the ones that begin with the word exclusive agency or exclusive right to sell, that's a little bit different. But these ones where the seller signed a waiver of broker cooperation, we don't place those listings in the MLS. Here's an agent that did. After signing a waiver of broker cooperation, he entered the property into the Cape May County listing service without the permission of the seller. So he got a $3,500 fine and has to take 3 hours of CE. Now, exclusive agency type listings, they're far better than open listings, but I don't like these either. I really don't take these either. I found that you end up getting sellers that are working against you, trying to find any excuse to avoid paying you the commission. Because with an exclusive agency listing, the owner reserves the right to find their own buyer and not pay you a commission. So if you ever sent somebody to drive by the listing to see if they like the neighborhood, see the way the house looks outside, and the owner's out there and they tell the person to come in and they show them the house. Now all of a sudden they're like, well, I found that buyer. They drove by my house and I flagged them in and I brought them in. And it's like, no, I gave them the address and they drove by. And now you're in an argument with them because they don't want to pay you a commission, So I like to have it where the owner is working with me to try to sell their property or rent it. Exclusive agency listing. If the seller finds a buyer with no help from any broker, the seller retains the right to sell the property without obligation to the broker, meaning they don't have to pay you a commission. They only pay us a commission if the listing agency finds a buyer or an outside agency brings the buyer, but not if the seller does. And when that happens, you usually see this. You guys ever see something like this? That's crazy.
No.
All these for sale signs. Here's the real estate broker sign. You got all these for sale by owner signs all around. First of all, if you're a buyer, what does that say to you?
That's very confusing. Like, why? That's very strange.
Well,
It looks
what is
messy.
your
I would just say this, they don't know what's going on and it's going to be a hassle and it's probably going to fall apart. So, or
okay?
they're up to something. That's what I'm saying
Anybody
with
else get
buyer.
an immediate first impression when you first see this? If you see a bunch of for sale signs like this on someone's front lawn, what's their first impression that you
It's
get?
like desperation.
Desperation. So I could get a deal on this one. This person looks like they're desperate to sell, right? Which is not a good image that you want. But in the meantime, they're not desperate. They're just trying to avoid paying the broker the commission by
They're
doing this.
confused.
But you know what? Our listing agreements specifically state that the owner is not allowed to have any other signs on the property other than ours. But yet they still try pulling this crap. I've even seen them take it a step further where they took their for sale by owner sign and put it on top of the brokerage sign. So it stands out more. Or they put masking tape over the brokerage's phone number on the sign and then wrote their own number over it. It's like, wow, they're trying to really screw me out of my commission, huh?
You might as well just take the sign down at that point.
Yeah. So what's the point of working with these people? Why take this type of listing?
Yeah.
Because that's what it's an invite to. I like this one. What do you think? You like this little meme here? For sale by owner. Recall issued for these signs. They've been proven to be ineffective. It's actually true. I think it's less than 5% of all for sale by owners are successful in selling by owner. So is that a very successful route to go? No. But I understand why owners do it. They're trying to save on the commission because it's a lot of money. So if there's that 5% chance that they can, they're going to try it. So don't be insulting to these people because they may be insulting to you or may not want to list with you because they're trying to save on the money. They're like, I don't want to deal with realtors. Stop bugging me, because they probably got them knocking on their door every 2 minutes, Just introduce yourself, give them your business card, ask them why they're selling by owner. And then you can even give them a couple of tips and just say, listen, I know that for sale by owners, typically we got a lot of research on this. Less than 5% of owners are successful in selling by owner. I hope you are, and that you could save the money on the commission from hiring a real estate agent. But, there is value in using our services. And so, I'd just like you to hold on to here's my business card. If at any time you feel like you want to use the help of a professional to help you sell your home, I'd be glad if you gave me that opportunity. Just be polite to them, and then they're more likely to reach out to you when they're unable to sell on their own, and they do break down finally and decide to list it with an agent. Okay. So many agents I've seen that are so nasty towards for sale by owners, and there's no reason for it. You're not going to get that listing by acting that way. Here's a picture that I took. This was in Rahway on the Linden Rahway border, Linden Rahway Clark border. Doesn't exactly scream confidence when a broker, look at this, it says for sale by broker owner. You got brokers that are convincing for sale by owners that there's value to use their services, but then you got this guy, he's a broker, he's not even using his own services from his own company. Doesn't exactly scream confidence, does it? For sale by broker owner.
It's
Now,
almost
this one
like he's
I
saying the owner is broker than anyone else.
It's gonna be if that's the attitude he has, trying to convince you to don't sell for sale by owners, for sale with me. There's use, in use, there's value in using me, but I don't even use me. I don't even use my own company. Look familiar?
It just
Yeah.
says exclusive right to sell.
Exclusive right to sell listing. You see that little smiley face there next to that?
With the thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
I like these listings. These are the listings you should be trying to get. Only one agency is exclusively representing the owner to market their property for sale, and that's the case with any listing that begins with the word exclusive. But with an exclusive right to sell listing, other agents can still show the property, and the seller pays us a commission no matter who brings the buyer. Even if the seller themselves find the buyer, they still need to pay us a commission. Hell, even if the listing expires, if anybody who we introduced to this property while the listing was in effect, we're still owed a commission. That's why we got broker protection clauses in our listing agreements. You guys got this highlight down?
Yes, thank you.
Here's from the back of our listing agreement, a broker protection clause. It says the owner agrees to pay the listing broker a commission if the owner, acting on the owner's own behalf within, put down 180 days, after the expiration, conveys or agrees to convey the property to a buyer shown the property during the by the listing broker or any other person during this listing agreement while the listing was in effect, basically. The clause shall not apply if the property was relisted with another broker signing another written listing agreement. So even if our listing expires, as long as they didn't relist it with another company, we're still entitled to a commission if that property goes under contract to anybody that was shown the property during our listing period by us or another agency. Here I got a bunch of links that down at the bottom. Here's the latest Garden State MLS listing agreement that includes the brokerage service agreement in it. We have from New Jersey Realtors, brokerage service agreements for buyers and renters, but that's kind of confusing, that one to fill out. Here's one from All Jersey MLS that does not include the brokerage service agreement. It's just a listing agreement, but doesn't talk about the commissions, which is odd. The latest Attorney General's memorandum with that Fair Chance in Housing Act included there, that essentially makes criminals a protected class. All listing input sheets from the Garden State MLS. Each MLS may have their own listing forms, although All Jersey MLS, I don't think they have any anymore that they require you to submit. So it depends on each MLS. Delayed showing listings from the Garden State MLS. You got to use that coming soon listing, those delayed showing forms. And 55 plus community. If you're selling a house that's in a senior housing or 55 plus community, you have to have in writing certification that it is housing meant for older persons. Otherwise, that listing is discriminatory against people with families, with children under the age of 18. Here I put together a chart where you could get a quick at-a-glance view under which type of listings do we get paid a commission. Well, the owner is required to pay us a commission on open listings only if the listing agency finds the buyer, but not if an outside agency or the seller does. In an exclusive agency listing, we are owed a commission if the listing agency finds a buyer or an outside agency finds a buyer, but not if the seller does. They reserve the right not to pay us that commission. And an exclusive right to sell listing across the board, we get paid a commission no matter who brings the buyer, as long as the listing is in effect. I'll leave it right here. We're already at 4:30, so we'll just pick up here. We're not finishing this chapter by rushing it. I'm not going to get through it any quicker. So we'll stop this, and chapter 10 here will just be split. Okay.